Welcome back, guys. In the previous lecture we have discussed about the height and width properties in CSS. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the padding in CSS. Padding is also one of the most important topic in CSS as like margin. So in this video we are going to discuss about that. So already we have completed the margins topic in CSS. So padding is also some of the similar topic to the margin except one or two properties. So now let's understand the padding topic with the help of margins. So I will open the PPT. Here you can see now we are going to discuss about the padding. First let us understand the margin. So this is the normal H1 text in the any web page or HTML page. It is without margin and padding. So you can see from the left side there is no gap, from the right side also there is no gap, and we have started the text from the left side but there is no gap, and the background color is yellow, border color is blue. Now we will apply some margin to this H1 text at the left side. So already we have discussed how to apply margin left. You can see this is the margin. These here the left side, this gap is called as margin. Now this H1 text is with margin left and without padding. Here there is no padding, but we have some margin left, that may be 100 pixels or 50 pixels, whatever it may be. But this text is 50 pixels or 100 pixels away from the left side. That away distance is called as margin, or that space is called as margin. Now we will see what is padding. So here also we will giving the same distance, that is called as margin. Here this distance is called as margin, and inside you can see there is some inside distance. This inside distance is called as padding. Outside distance is called margin. Inside distance is called as padding. So once again I will explain. You can see we have one H1 text which is 50 pixels. Consider this margin as 50 pixels for the second and for the third H1 also. The margin is equal to 50 pixels. Here the second text is 50 pixels away from the left side, and it is having without a border or without a padding. And for the third H1 text it is 50 pixels away from the left side. And if you observe this H1 text background here, in the inside also the text is maintaining 50 pixels gap from the border. You can see this is the border, and from border to text there is some gap, and this gap is called as padding. This gap is inside the H1 text. The gap or the space which is inside the tag is called as padding, or the gap or space which is outside the tag is called as margin. So this is the only difference. Margin is outside, padding is inside. So while writing the code you will understand better. As of now keep it in mind that margin is outside, padding is inside. Whatever the tag may be, it may be a paragraph tag, it may be a H1 tag, whatever it may be, the margin space is outside the tag, padding space is inside the tag. Now we are going to write the program for padding. Here you can see I have opened the Visual Studio Code with the front end folder. Now I am going to create the new file in the front end, padding.html. So first I will complete the HTML formalities. HTML head title is padding in CSS. Control S. Now I am going to create the body part. In this body part, let's create one H1 text and one paragraph tag. This is H1 text. Control S. And we will add one paragraph. From Google we will copy some text about the paragraph. So this time we will copy the text about Sundar Pichai. Sundar Pichai is CEO of Google. So I will copy some text about him. I'll click on the view, click on the toggle word wrap, and for the H1 text also I will write the name as Sundar Pichai. Control S. Now I am going to execute this program. Local disk C desktop frontend / padding.html. Here you can see we got the output. This is the H1 text and this is the paragraph. So first we will add the background color for the both the H1 text and paragraph. So we will understand margin better. So first I will add the style H1. For the H1 I will add the background color as yellow, or you can add orange. And for the paragraph I will add the background color as violet. First I will add the background color violet. Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see we got the orange color background for the H1 text and the violet color background for the paragraph text. First I will add the margin for both H1 and paragraph. So you can add margin left or margin right or margin top or anything. So I will add the margin left for the H1. Margin left is equal to, I will add 50 px. So the H1 text will start 50 pixels away from the left side. Here you can see, here this gap is 50 pixels. Now I will add the padding for the H1 text. Already we have discussed what is the difference between margin and padding. If it is required, I will make the another video for the differences between margin and padding. As of now, you have to follow it. So here this distance is called margin. Suppose if I add padding, from here it will take the 50 pixels distance. Suppose it will consider this blue background is called as 50 pixels distance. So after these 50 pixels only the text will start in this H1. Now I am going to apply the padding left as 50 pixels. Padding left 50 px. Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see this white color space is called as margin and this orange color space is called padding, because padding is inside space, margin is outside space. Here this is complete H1. Whatever the background color is present for the text, that is called as H1. And for the H1 we have the padding, because orange color is empty. Wherever the orange color is empty, that is called as padding. So don't say this is called as padding, because here there is no text. Suppose if you add some text, it will be filled. So here I will add some text. Sundar picture something. Control S. Here you can see we have some text at the right side. This space is not called as padding. For the left side only we have the padding. I will remove this text. Control S. Refresh. You can see this left side space is called as margin and the space outside the H1 tag is called as padding. Not padding, margin. Inside is called as padding, outside is called as margin. Now I will add the padding left for the paragraph tag. So for the paragraph I will add padding left 50 px. Control S. So after hitting the refresh button, we can able to see the complete background color, but we can able to see only the text after the 50 pixels from the left side. I will hit the refresh. Here you can see these 50 pixels gap is called as padding. If I apply margin, so this white space will also increase up to the 50 pixels. Now I will apply the margin to the paragraph. Margin left is equal to 50 px. Control S. I will hit refresh. Here you can see this white space is called as margin and this violet space is called as padding. Suppose if you want to apply the left side also, you can apply. But if you apply the left side padding without a text, it will not make any changes because there is no text here. If you have text only, you can able to see the changes. So that's why I will apply the margin right, not margin right, padding right to the paragraph, because here there is some text. So this text will be moved left side after applying the padding right. So I will apply padding right 50 px. Control S. I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see this gap is called as 50 px, this gap is 50 px, and this 50 px gap is called as padding. So suppose if you apply padding right to the H1 text, you can see no change because here there is no text. That's why you can observe no change. So for your understanding, you will apply the margin, not margin, padding right also. Padding right 50 px, but there will be no change. Here you can see there is no change, padding right for the H1, because there is no text here. If you have text only, you can able to observe the padding, but you can observe the margin without the text also. because margin is applied to the background. So now I will apply the margin left 50 px. So these background will be moved 50 pixels away from the right side. Sorry, something went wrong. Margin left, margin right. Sorry, here I have to give margin right. Control S. Hit refresh. Here you can see, you can able to observe the margin right and margin left. We have margin both sides for the H1, but we have only padding for only left side because there is no text, complete text in the H1. That's why we cannot observe the padding right. So when it comes to the paragraph, you can observe the margin left, padding right, padding left. Suppose if you want to apply the padding, not padding, margin right for the paragraph also, you can write margin right 50 px. Control S. Here you can see this is margin right. So now I will add all the margins and paddings for this page. So I will click on the draw tool. Draw. Yes. So here this is called ML50, means margin left to 50. ML50. And this is called as PL50, padding left to 50. PL50. Here this is called as MR50, margin right to 50. Sorry, I am not good at drawing. Margin right to 50. Here ML50. ML50. This is margin. Here also PL50, padding left to 50. Here padding right to 50. Inside, this inside space is called as padding. PR50. Here MR50, margin right to 50. MR50. So here we have applied margin left, margin right for all the sides, all the tags for H1, for P. But when it comes to the padding, we can able to apply padding for the H1 at only left side, because at the right side we do not have any text. So if you apply the padding also, you can see no change. But when it comes to the paragraph is having more than 3-4 lines. That's why you can able to see the padding right also. Suppose if you have complete text in the H1, then you can able to observe the gap from the right side also. Now I will add some text to the right. So first of all, I will clear all these paints, clear all. Now I will apply some text in the H1. So Sundar Pichai, I will write in the bracket, present CEO of Google, present CEO of Google, and I will write from India. Control S. Here you can see. Now you can able to observe the padding, because there is the complete text. Already we have applied padding right for the H1. You can see padding right. For the H1 we have padding right. If you remove this padding right, so you cannot observe this space here. I have removed padding. So after clicking the refresh button, this from will be added here. Here you can see there is no gap from this right side. Already this from we cannot fit from here. Suppose if I zoom down this, you can able to see here. So I'll zoom down this window, so you can able to see there is no padding at the right side. Suppose if I add padding 100 or 200 at the right side, you can able to observe the change. So for the H1 text, I will add PR, means padding right 200 px. Control S. So you can able to observe 200 pixels gap from the right side. You can see this gap is called as padding right. You can able to see 200 pixels gap from the right side and only 50 pixels gap from the left side. This is called as padding. So you can apply padding at the top bottom also. If you apply bottom, it will take space from the bottom. If you apply top, it will take space from the top. Now we will discuss about the margin, not margin, padding top and padding bottom. So for the H1, I will apply the padding bottom as padding bottom, sorry, padding bottom as 50 px. So you can able to observe 50 px empty orange background for the h1. You can see this is the empty orange background. These are empty orange background or these empty space is called as padding. Now I will apply the padding top for the paragraph. P top, padding top 50 px, Control S. Here you can see this empty space is called as padding top. So like this way you can apply padding and margins for the h1 or not only h1, you can any HTML tags. Margins and padding tricks. So I will create a new folder in the desktop. New folder. I will write the folder name as tips. So first we are going to access this folder in the VS Code. I'll open VS Code. So after opening the VS Code, click on this file, click on the open folder. Here we need to select the newly created folder. The folder name is tips. Select folder. So in this tips folder, I am going to create a new file with the name index.html. So first we have to complete the skeleton of the HTML page. HTML body, first we have to write the head. In that head first we have to write the title. The title is tips and body. So in this body first I will write one h1 tag with the title tips and tricks about margins and paddings. Control S. Now let's execute this program. So here I have opened Google Chrome. Now we have to type the file path of this index.html in the VS Code. First I will write local disk C, and here the folder name is desktop. Now in the desktop we have to access the tips folder and the file name is index.html. So here you can see this is our lecture title. So I have zoomed this window. Now we need to create some of the elements to learn about the margins and paddings. First I will create the h1 element. I'll close this. So h1 I will write hi, hello. Now I will add the background to this h1. Style h1 background color is red. Let's execute this. So for both the h1 tags the color is added red. So I will use the class name. So I do not want background color for this first one title. So I want only background color for the hi and hello. So that's why I will write the class as X. So instead of h1 we need to apply the background color to the .x. .x means class X. Control S. Let's execute once again. Here you can see now we got the background color for the h1 tag, which is having the text as hi and hello. Now let's apply the margin left. That means we will get the space from left side. So if you want to apply the margin left as 50 pixels, M50, margin left. Control S. Here you can see we got the 50 pixels gap from the left side. Now I want to get the gap from right side here. Margin right 50 px. Control S. Here you can see I got margin from the right side also. Now I want margin 50 px from the top. Top also 50 px. Control S. From bottom also I want 50 px. So here there is no element after the h1. To check whether the bottom margin is applied successfully or not, we need to place one h1 element, or not only h1, we can place any element after this h1 to check whether the margin bottom is applying or not. So after this, I will write one second h1 tag. I will write the text as football. Control S. Let's execute this. Here you can see margin top is applied, margin left is applied, and margin right is also applied. So now we will add the margin bottom. So here there is no gap. Of course, I have zoomed this window, that's why we can able to see the gap. Now I will add the margin bottom also. So margin bottom also I will add 50 px. Control S. Here you can see. Now for this h1 text, we have the margin 50 px from all the sides. That means 4 sides. Left side, top, right side, bottom. So here we have written 4 lines of code for just margins purpose only. Margin left, margin right, margin top, and margin bottom. So to avoid these situations, we have to use one more line. Instead of writing all these lines, we have to use only one line. That is called as margin. So we have to use only margin line when you have all the sides margin equal to the same value. Here for the 4 sides we are applying margin is equal to 50 only. So when your all sides margin is the same value, then instead of writing all these things, you have to use only one line. So first I will put these lines in the comment. So to get the comments in VS Code, you have to press Ctrl and slash. So now all these lines are in comment. Now I will press Ctrl S. Here you can see there is no margin. Now with the help of only one line, I will get the margin from top, left, bottom, right. Now I will write margin, only margin. I am not specifying any side, left or right or anything. I will specify only margin and I will write 50 px. Control S. Here you can see I got margin from all the sides. That means whenever you do not specify any side to the margin, that value margin will be applied from all the sides. So here I have given the 50 pixels margin to the class X element. So it will take 50 pixels gap from all the sides, left, right, top, bottom, all the sides. So we have saved 3 lines of code. So instead of writing 4 lines, we have written only one line, which is called as margin. So this is about margin. Now let's discuss about the tricks on padding. So I will create one more element. So for this football, I want to apply the padding. First I will add the class to this football, class Y. So for the football also we will add some background color. Background color, not black, blue. Control S. Let's execute this. Here you can see we got the football background color with blue. As like margin also, we have to add padding to this dot y. Dot y means class Y element. So now I will add the padding left 50 px, padding right 50 px, and padding top 50 px, and padding bottom 50 px. So to understand this, you should know the differences between margin and padding. Margin means outside space, padding means inside space. So after hitting the refresh button, we will get the margin from left, right, top, bottom. Of course, there is no element from the right side, so we cannot observe any margin from the right side. So we can able to observe only margin from the left, top, bottom. We will get the 50 pixels gap from all these sides, and after that gap only this football text will start. Now I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see we got the margin from all the sides. 50 pixels, 50 pixels, here also 50 pixels. So instead of writing all these things, we just need to write padding 50. So it will be applied to all the sides. Now I will put these all lines in comments and I will write padding 50. Control S. Here you can see same output. we got the margin from all the sides by writing only one line. So here we need to use this type of syntax whenever you are having the same margin from all the sides. If you are having the different margin from all the sides, you should not apply this trick. When you're having all the sides with the same margin only, you have to apply this trick. Now let's discuss some more tricks about the margins and paddings. I will create one more file. So this file is somewhat different from the previous. I will write index2.html. I'll close this. Open. Sorry, I have created a folder instead of file. I will remove this. Remove index2.html. Index2.html. So in this index2.html, first I will complete the HTML formalities. Sorry. HTML head, title, tips, and I will write body. Now I will add the some of HTML elements. H1, this is H1, and H2, this is H2. I will add paragraph, this is paragraph, and I will add one image tag. So in this src we have to copy any one URL. So I will copy the URL Christopher Nolan. So I'll copy this image, copy image address, and we have to paste this image here. Control S. So we have completed 4 tags. I will add some more tags. Which tag should I add? H1, H2, P, image, anchor tag. So I will write the text as this is anchor tag. Control S. Now let's execute this program. So instead of index.html, I will write index2.html. So this is our output. So this image is somewhat bigger. Now I will decrease the height and width of this image. So if you want to decrease the height and width, you can add the height and width attributes or properties. If you want to add the attributes, you have to add here height and width. If you want to add the using CSS, you can add CSS. I will add the CSS style img. I will write height equal to 300 and width is also 300. Control S. Here you can see, now you can able to see the all elements. So here this anchor tag is right side of the image element. To avoid this, we have to use the BR tag after the image tag. That means we have to break the line after the image. So I will use BR tag after the image. So the anchor tag will come down. BR. Here you can see. Now we have 5 different elements in our HTML body. This is H1, this is H2, this is paragraph, img, and this anchor tag. Suppose I want margin left for all these elements, HTML elements, H1, H2, paragraph, image, anchor tag. So for these 5 elements, I want margin left as 50 px. That means from 50, after taking the 50 pixels gap from left side only, these elements should start. How can we do that? So we have to open the style tags. Already we have opened. Now we need to add a margin left for all the tags. So I will write H1 margin left 50 px, and for H2 margin left 50 px, 50 px, and for P we have to add margin left 50 px, and for img already we have the img tag. So here you can add m left 50 px, and we are left with only one tag, anchor tag margin left 50 px. Control S. Let's check the output whether 50 pixels margin is applied to all the elements or not. Here you can see 50 pixels margin is applied to all the elements, but we have written almost 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 11 12 13 14 lines of code to get margin 50 pixels to all the elements from left side. For getting only margin left 50 pixels from the left side only, we have written 15 lines. So we can avoid this situation by using the parent and child combinations. So here body is the parent because we are adding all these elements in the body. So for all these 5 elements, body is the parent element. So instead of taking margin left to all the child elements, you can take padding left to all the body elements. That means we have only one body. So if you take padding left to the body, so from body, for every element will take 50 pixels gap automatically, because the body will not allow elements from starting of the body. So every element will take 50 pixels gap automatically. That's why instead of applying margin to all the elements, we have to apply padding to the body. So now I will apply padding to the body. First I will put all this code in the comment. Here also I will write comment. Now let's see. Here you can see there is no gap from the body. Now I will write padding left for the body. First I will take body, I will write padding left, I will write 50 px. So the body will take 50 pixels gap from the left side, whatever the element it may be. So it will start after the 50 pixels from the body, because body want 50 pixels gap to its child elements. Now I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see we got the same output by writing just only one line, padding left 50 pixels from the body. So these 50 pixels padding is applied to the body, not child elements. So this consider as the same way. If you want to apply the 50 pixels margin to all the child elements, or if you want to apply padding to only body, will give the same results, but the lines of code is very less compared to the first scenario. So in the first scenario we have written 15 lines, but in the second scenario we have got that output by writing only one line, which is used for the padding purpose. So this process will only work whenever you are working with the parent and child elements. Here we are having the body as the parent element for 5 different child elements. So instead of adding margins and padding to the 5 different elements, you can add the margin to the one parent element. So automatically that will be applied to the all elements. What we are going to build in this project. So this is the demo of our project. You can able to see here all the text and images that they are present in this. So first we have the header with the project title, Bill Gates. This project is about the Wikipedia of the Bill Gates. So we have the background color as white for the H1 text, and we have complete blue color background for the body. That means complete web page we have the blue background color. So for this H1 text, if you observe here, we have some margin and we have some padding at the right side and the left side. So we have to use all the topics that we have covered up to the last lecture. That may be a CSS topic or HTML topic. We are going to use every topic. So after the H1 tag, we have the image of the Bill Gates to tell the user that this website is about the Bill Gates. So after the image, we have one more side heading, which is called as about. In this about, we are going to add some of the lines about the Bill Gates using the paragraph tag. Here this about is the heading tag and this description is the paragraph tag. After the paragraph tag, we are going to discuss some of the achievements by the Bill Gates. So Bill Gates is the owner of Microsoft. That's why we are going to add some of the description about the Microsoft also in this website. So I have created a new heading for the about Microsoft. For this also we have the white background color and we have 2 lines about the Microsoft with the help of p tag. And after the text we have some images about the Bill Gates. You can see again we have the heading, more images. After this heading we have some of the images regarding the Bill Gates, Microsoft, and these 2 are the Bill Gates images. And at the bottom we have the thank you text with the side heading. So this is the project that we are going to build now. For this I will create a new folder in the desktop. So we have to create a separate folder for only this project only. So I will create new folder. I will write the folder name as Bill Gates. This is the folder name. So in this Bill Gates folder, first we have to open this folder in the VS Code. So I'll open VS Code, file, click on the open folder, and you have to select Bill Gates in the desktop. Select folder. So in this project, we are going to use the external styling, because already I have said when you are doing a project, you have to use external styling. When you are practicing, you have to use internal or inline styling. So this time we are going to build a project. That's why we have to use external styling. Whenever you want to use external styling, you have to use a separate folder for our project. So that's why I have created a new folder for our project. In this project folder, I am going to create the first file as HTML with the title index.html. And for the CSS, I am going to create the file name as index.css. So first we have to keep these two HTML file and the CSS file side by side, so we can write the simultaneous code. First we have to complete the HTML snippets or formalities. HTML head, in this head we have to write the project title. Our project title is Bill Gates. Control S. Here G is capital. Control S. Now after the head part, we have to move into the body part. So first we have to link these style sheet to the index.html file using the link tag, which we have to place in the head part. If you are using the internal styling, you need not to create a separate CSS file. You can just write here. You can just write here this like this style. But we are going to build a project. If you write all the code in a single page, so it's very difficult to manipulate whenever it is necessary. That's why we have to maintain the separate style sheet when you are building the project. So I will remove the style sheet and I will link the external style using the link. Here you can see this is the link syntax, less than symbol, link followed by rel attribute. Rel means you have to tell the compiler that we are using the external style sheet. This style sheet is called as CSS style sheet. In the href, we are going to add the file path of the CSS. So I will write index.css, Control S. Now we have successfully linked the CSS file to the HTML. So if you observe the project, the first thing we have to do is add background color to the web page. If you observe here, we have some of the blue background color. So I will add the blue background color to the HTML body. So first we have to open the index.css. We have to add the background color to the body. Body background color. So in general, we do not have this type of color in the CSS. That's why we have to copy the color code from the Google. So to get the color code, we have many websites. So you can use any one of the website. I will type RGB, RBG or RGB color codes. So you can open any one website and you can select the color from the color picker and it will give the code. So I will select some of the blue background. So you can select anything from here. After selecting, you will get the code here. Copy this code and paste it in the background color value. You can see here you have to paste it here. Control S. For index.html also I'll press Control S. Now we have to execute this program to check whether the background color is added or not. So our folder is present in the desktop. C:desktop. Our project folder name is Bill Gates. And our file name is index.html. Index.html. Here you can see the blue background color is added successfully. If you see here, we have the blue background color. This is our developing project. This is our completed project. So by seeing this project, we are going to build this project. I will close this colors website. So I am keeping the both completed project and developing project side by side so you can understand better. So the first thing we have to do is create one h1 tag and add the white background color to the h1. So first I will create the h1 tag with the text Bill Gates. h1 with the text Bill Gates. Control S. Here I will press the refresh button. Here you can see there is no text here. That means because in the blue background color we cannot see the black color text. That's why we have to change the h1 text color to the white. So in the index.css I will create the style for h1. So I will add the first property for the h1 as color as white. Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh button. Here you can see, you can able to see the Bill Gates. So first we have to add the white background color to the H1 text, and after adding the white background color, we have to change the text color to the black. So you can able to see both background color and text color. So first I will add the white background color to the H1. Background color as white and color as black, text color as black, because in white you cannot see the white. That's why you have to change the color to black. Text color is black and the background color is white for the H1. Here you can see we got the white background color for the H1 text and the text color is black. So if you observe here, we have the left margin and the right margin. So we are going to achieve this using the margin properties. So for the H1, I will add the margin left as 50 px or 100 px. You can add anything. Margin left as 100 px. I will add 100 px. And margin right is also 100 px. Margin right 100 px. So it will take 100 px gap from the left side and right side. I will refresh this page. Here you can see we got the margin from left side as well as right side. Now if you observe the background here, we have the curved background for the H1. Not only H1, for the images also, for every tag we have used in the project, that background color is curved, not background color, the background is curved. If you observe this, it is simple rectangle. So if you want curved background, you have to use the CSS property called as border radius. This is one of the most important CSS property while developing the complex projects. So this property is mainly used for the designing purpose. So you can see when you use the curved background, it's look very good. That's why we have to use curved background for the H1 text or the images. So for the H1, I will use the border radius. Border hyphen radius. I will use the border radius as 10 px. So the background will be changed to the curved background. So now I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see the background is changed to the curved background. So we have to make changes until these H1 text look like this. So we have to make some more changes also. If you observe the H1 text underline here, we have the underline for H1 text. We will achieve this underline using the text decoration property. Already we have discussed this in the text formatting or text styles. So now I will add the text decoration property for the H1. Text decoration as underline. So it will add underline to the heading. You can see we got the underline. Now we are left with only one property for this H1 text. If you observe here, the text is bigger than the normal H1. If you observe our developing project, it is somewhat lesser than the already developed project. That's why we have to increase the font size of the H1. So now I will increase the font size. Font size, I will make it 50 px. The default size of the H1 is 32 px. To increase, I will make it 50. Here you can see the size of the H1 is increased and it is 50 px now. Now we have to add some padding left to the H1 text. If you observe here, we have some gap between the background color and the text. This is because of padding. If you have padding, we will get some space between the left side and the text. So that's why I will add some padding left to the H1 text. So I will add padding left. Padding left is, I will add 20 px. 20 px is enough. So now I will refresh the page. Here you can see, now it's looking very good. White background color with padding 20 px with underline side heading. So it's looking same. This is the developed project and this is the developing project. Now the heading part is completed. Now we have to add one image about the Bill Gates. So if you want to download, you can download, or if you want to use the URL image from the Google directly, you can use it. So I want to use direct URL image from the Google. So after the H1, first I will create the img tag. So I will remove this alt. So in this source, we have to mention the URL of the image. If you already downloaded, you have to mention the file path in the source. If you haven't downloaded any image, you have to use the URL. So right click on this image and copy the image address, or you can copy the image from the Google also. So Bill Gates images. So you can copy any image. So which image should we copy? So here I will copy this image URL, click on this and right click on the image, and you have to click copy image address. Click on this and you have to paste that image address in the src. Control V. Now we have to press Control S. Now you have to add the height and width for this img. So you have to add this in the index.css. I will create one more tag here, img. We have to add the styles for image tag. So I will add the height as 500 px. Height as 500, and I will add the width which is more than the height. So we have to get the rectangle shape. That's why I will give the width as 800 px. Control S. Now let's execute the program. Here you can see we got the Bill Gates image in our web page. So for this image also we have to make some changes. We have to add the margin and we have to add the border radius to get the curved images. So first I will add the margin left to get the gap or space from the left side. Margin left 100 px. Control S. Here you can see we got space from the left side. Now I will add the border radius. Border radius 10 px. Here we go. We got the border radius as expected in the project. So now we have to create the one more heading which is used for about. So here if you observe the first heading and the second heading, the size of the text is decreased. That's why we have to use the smaller heading. So already we have completed the H1. Now I will use the H2 or H3 for the smaller heading. Already we have discussed that when the size of the when the value of the H is increased, the size of the H is decreased. So for the remaining side headings except the Bill Gates name, I will use the H2. So I will close this. Now I will create the about using the H2. H2 is also side heading tag. About. Control S. Let's see the output. Here you can see we got the about. First I will add the background color as black for this H2. Index.css. I will create the one more tag H2. Background color as white. Control S. Here we go. We got the background color as white for the H2. Now we have to make changes to get the curved background and the margin. So I will apply the margin left and right with 100 pixels. Margin left 100 px and margin right 100 px. Control S. Here we go. We got the margin left and margin right. Now we have to increase some text size, or you can keep it like this only. So first I will add the border radius to get the curved background. Border radius 10 px. So here you can see we got the border radius successfully. If you observe this image or this side heading, the text is stretched in the background. So to avoid this, we have to use the padding like this. You can see at the top we have added the padding. So it took some space from the left side and it started the text. So here also you need to add some padding. So now I will add all the paddings. Padding left, padding right, padding top, padding bottom. Padding left is equal to 10 px. Padding right is equal to 10 px. Padding top equal to 10 px. And padding bottom is equal to 10 px. refresh. Here you can see now it's looking good. About is completed. Now we are left with only one thing in this about. We have to add the underline. To add the underline, we have to use the text decoration property. Text decoration as underline. That's it. Hit refresh. Here you can see we got the about with the underline text. Now almost we have completed 50% of our project. About now we have to add one paragraph. So let me copy some text. So you can copy from here also. I have copied this text from the Google. Control C, or you can copy from the Google. You have to just type Bill Gates. Copy from here. So I think I have copied from the Bill Gates is a technologist. Here there is some different text. So from here I have copied gatesnotes.com. So click on this. So in this we have some good paragraph. Sorry, this is not. There is some more website. Where is it? Bill Gates. Sorry, I forgot where I have copied the text. You can copy, this is the paragraph testing purpose only. You can copy any paragraph. So here I am copying this text only, copy, and I will paste it in the p tag. You can use any text related to the Bill Gates only, because we are using the Bill Gates Wikipedia. Control S. Now I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see we got the paragraph. Now we have to make some changes to this paragraph. First thing we have to do is to change the text color. So for the paragraph I want to add the text color as white. Color white. Control S. Let's see the output. Here you can see we got the white color text for the paragraph. Now I will increase the paragraph text size. So the default size for the paragraph is 16. So I will add the 20. Font size 20px. Control S. You can see now it's looking good. Now I will add the margin left and margin right for the paragraph. Margin left 100px. Margin right 100px. Refresh. Here you can see we got the paragraph successfully. Now we are left with one more side heading. This is about Microsoft. So here we need not to add any styling because we are using the H2. For H2 we are already defined the styling. You can see already we have completed the styling for H2. So we just need to write the H2 and we just need to write the name. H2 about Microsoft. So already we have applied styling, so that styling will be applied to this text defaultly. Now I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see we got the about Microsoft side heading with the applied styling. Now we have to add one more paragraph about the Microsoft. So here I will write the Microsoft. You can get some information about the Microsoft here. So copy this text and paste it in the p tag. So let me create a p tag after the H2. That's it. Now I will hit the refresh button. Here we go. We got the text about the Microsoft. Now we have completed all the text part. Now we are left with only one thing to add the more images. So for the more images side heading also I am going to use the H2 only because we have already completed the styling for H2. That's why I will use the H2. H2 more images. Control S. Refresh. You can see we got the side heading more images. Now we have to add any 3 images about the Bill Gates. So first let me check the Bill Gates images. Bill Gates images. So from here, first I will copy which text. You can see I will copy this image, copy image address, and we have to create the img tag. Img in the src we have to mention the image url, that means image address. Control s. Let me check whether this image is added or not. Here you can see the image is added successfully. Now I will add the one more image. The second image is I will add the Microsoft image, or you can add Bill Gates also. I will copy this image address, and create one more image tag. Img in the src we have to mention the url. Control s. And at the last I will copy the image of the Microsoft. So I will copy this image address, right click on it, copy image address, and paste it here. So every time whenever I am using the image snippet, we are getting these alt attribute. In the further lectures I will tell what is this alt attribute. As of now you can ignore it. Control s. So for the third image also I will remove the alt attribute. Control s. Now I am going to hit the refresh button. So here we go, we got 3 images successfully. But if you observe the images here, there is no gap between the first image and second image. This is because there is no margin here. All the images are attached. So to avoid this, we have to use the margin for the image tab. We have to use the margin top. So it will take some gap from the top. So the second image will take some gap from the first image. The third image will take some gap from the second image. That's why for the images we have to use the margin top. In the index.css I will write margin top from the images. Here you can see this is the img tag. Here I will write margin top. I will use 10px. So now I will click the refresh button. After clicking the refresh button, you can able to see the gap between the images. Here you can see, now we got the gap between the images. You can able to see here we got gap. If you want to give more gap, you can give 20px also. Control s. You can see we have 20px gap from one image to another image. Now we have completed with everything except the thank you side heading. So at the bottom we have the thank you side heading. This is the h1. You can see here the h2 size is somewhat smaller than the h1. So for the Bill Gates side heading and for the thank you side heading we have to use the h1. So for the h1 also we have already defined the styling. So you just need to mention the h1, and in that h1 you have to write the text as thank you. h1 thank you. Control s. Hit refresh. Here you can see at the last we got thank you. Now we have 2 projects side by side. The project which I have already developed and the project which we are now developing. So both projects looking same. We have developed these projects from the topics that we have covered up to the previous lecture. Here we have used the topics h1, h2, images. When it comes to the CSS, we have used the margins, paddings, text decorations, and the stylings like paragraph, font size, everything we have used up to the last lecture. Now in the previous lecture we have did the project. So now we have to go to our old folder which is called as front end. Click on open folder. Here you have to select front end folder in the desktop and select folder. Here you can see the front end folder is open. Now I am going to create the new file with the name table.html. Table.html. Already we have known the structure of the table. Every table consisting of rows and columns, and every table is having the header. So first I will complete the HTML formats. HTML head. In this head I will write the title. The title is HTML tables. Control S. Now in the body I am going to create the simple h1 tag. In this h1 I will write the title as this is students table. Control S. Now I am going to execute this program. Open Google Chrome. In the Google Chrome URL, you have to type the file path of our project, desktop, front end folder, / our file name, table.html. We can see we got the title. This is students table. So now I am going to explain the structure of the table in HTML. So now let's understand the HTML tables with real-time example. So already I have mentioned the table title as students table. Now here also we will be taking the example of students table. You can see this is our example table. This is the students table with 3 columns: ID, name, marks. And we have 3 rows for this table: ID1, ID2, ID3. And the names are John, Michael, Ronaldo. Marks for John are 94 and Michael 88, for Ronaldo 76. So this is the table structure, not only HTML. You can see anywhere the table structure will be like this only. So in HTML, we have some keywords to determine this table. So now we will discuss the keywords to determine a table in the HTML. First we will start with the head part. You can see this ID, name, marks. This is called as table head part. We can call it as table header. This ID, name, marks, whatever the header it may be, the table header is called as table header in HTML. And after declaring the table header, we have to add some data to the table. And that data is called as table body. Here you can see these 3 are called as table body. The attributes or columns called as table header, and the rows are called as table body. And all these cells, that may be, the cell may be in the table header or table body. This ID is a cell, name is a cell, marks is a cell, 1 John 94. All these are cells. Here if you observe here, there are 16 cells are there, not 16, 12 I think so. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These 12 cells are called as table data. So that data may be in table header or table body, whatever it may be. That data is called as table data. In natural language, we will call it as table cell. When it comes to the HTML, we will call it as table data. Here we have to understand 3 keywords in the HTML table: table header, table body, table data. If you know these 3 keywords, you can able to design the table in HTML. Now we are going to create exact this table in the HTML using the program. Let's close this and open VS Code. Here you can see this is our program. So the first thing we have to create is table tag, because in the table only we are going to create the table header and table body. So before creating the table header and body, first we have to create the table. So in HTML, to create the table, we have the keyword or tag called as table only, less than symbol, table, greater than symbol. It will automatically give the closing syntax for the table. Already I have said in the table we have the 2 things: table header, table body. So table header is denoted by T head. T head, you can see THED, T head. Here also we need to mention T head. So after the header part, we have to add the body part. So we have to write T body. That's it. Less than symbol, T body, greater than symbol. In this T header, we have to add some data for heading part. You can see this is the heading part. We have to add this data in the T head, and we have to add these 3 rows data in the T body. So in the T head, we have 3 rows, not 3 rows, 3 names: ID, name, marks. We have to add these 3 cells in the row. So first we have to define a row. In HTML, row is denoted by TR. TR means table row. So first we have to create the TR. TR. So in this TR, we are going to add the 3 columns data. So the first column is ID, second column is name, and the third column is marks. So column is denoted by TD, table data. So less than symbol, TD, greater than symbol. So in this TD, we have to write the first column name. The first column name is ID. Control S. Now we have to create the second column. For second column also, we have to create the TD. Already I have discussed whatever the cell it may be. If it is in the head part or if it is in the body part, we have to use the table data. Table data is denoted by TD. The second column name is name. Control S. And the third column name is marks. Control S. Now I am going to execute this program. So I will click the refresh button. Here you can see we got three columns, not three columns, three column names. ID is the first column, name is the second column, marks is the third column. We got three column names. Once again, I will explain the syntax of header part. First, we have to create the table head in the table tag. So the table head will consist only one row. Whatever the table it may be, the table head consists only one row. If it is table body, we can have many number of rows because we can add the number of data. So in table head, we have to add only one row because we have to store the column names. So I have added the first row. In this row, we have to add the column names. We cannot add the names directly. We have to add that in the table data. Table data is denoted by TD and table row is denoted by TR. So in the TR, the means in the header part, we have one row. In that one row, we have three column names. So we have to give the column names in the table data. Table data is denoted by TD. So we have three columns in our table. That's why I have given the three TD tags. 3D is denoted by table data. So the first column name is ID, second column name is name, third column name is marks. And we have successfully got the table header, ID, name, marks. After completing the table design, we will add some styling to it. First, we will add the data into the table. To add the data into the table, we have to add the table body. So in the table body, I am going to create the three rows because if you observe our table here, we have three rows, three students details. That's why we have to create three rows. So in the table body, I am going to create the first row, TR. It will automatically gives the closing syntax for the TR. And I will add the second row, TR. And I will add the third row, TR. Control S. Now I am going to add the first student details. To add the student details also, we have to use the TD tags, means table data. So every TR tag is having the three TD tags because we have three columns in the table. First column is ID, second column is name, third column is marks. So every column is equal to one TD tag. So now I am going to add the ID for the first student. TD ID is 1. And TD, the second TD for the first row is name. So I will add name is equal to John. Control S. And now I will add the TD. The third column name is marks. I will add the marks as 96. Control S. Now let's see the first row is added successfully or not. This is the first row. TR and three TD tags. TD tags is nothing but column names. Now I am going to execute the program. Here you can see we got the data ID 1, name John, marks is equal to 36. Now we have to add the second student details in the second TR. TD, second student ID is 2 and second student name is Michael and second student marks is 85. Control S. Now let's check the second student details are added or not. Here you can see we got the second student details ID 2, name Michael, marks 85. Now I am going to add the third student details. We have to add the third student details in the third TR tag only because every TR tag is a new row. So I will add the TD 3 and the name is, what name I have given? Ronaldo. Marks is equal to 76. So first name is equal to Ronaldo and TD marks is equal to 76. Control S. Now I am going to execute this. Here you can see we got the data. ID is equal to 3, name is equal to Ronaldo, marks is equal to 76. We got the table successfully. In the PPT also we have 3 columns and 3 rows. The 3 column names are ID, name, marks. If you observe our output, the 3 column names are ID, name, marks. And we have 3 students data in the table. They are John, Michael, Ronaldo. If you see the table also, John, Michael, Ronaldo. and marks are 94, 88, 76. Here also I have given some marks to the students, 96, 85, 76. We have completed the developing part of the table. Now we will add some styling to this table. We will add some background color to the header part, and we will add some borders to the table to make it good. So first we have to add the background color to the T head, because if you see this table, you cannot determine that where is header and where is body. So we need to add some background color to the head part. So I will create the style tag here. Style, and so to add the background color to the head part, we have to add the tag name as T head. You can see in the T head only we have mentioned the header. So that's why we have to add the background color to the T head. So I will add the background color as orange. Background color orange. Control S. Now let's see the output. Here you can see we got the table background color as, not table background color, table header background color. Table header background color is orange. So now I will add the background color for rows, or we can add the background color for T body also. T body background color is, so what color should I add? Coral. Control S. Now I am going to execute the program. Here we go. We got the background color for table. The table header background color is orange, and table body background color is coral. So here you can able to see this is a complete table of the student. Suppose if you want to add any new row to this table, you have to add a new tr tag, and in the tr tag you have to add the new student details. So here I will add the new tr tag. Now I want to add the fourth student details. So the fourth student ID is, we have to mention that ID in the TD. TD means table data. ID is 4. And the fourth student name is, I will write Messi. And the fourth student marks are, I will write 63. Control S. Now let's check whether the fourth student data is added or not. Here you can see we got the fourth student data. ID is equal to 4, Messi is the name, and 63 are the marks. So this is the way to create a table in HTML. Once again I will explain all the syntaxes. So let me open VS Code. So first I have created the table tag, because table tag is the parent for the table. So every table is divided into two parts in the HTML. First part is header. You can see this is the head part. This orange color is the head part, coral color is the body part. So we have to divide the table into two parts. You can see this is the table head, and here table body. And for the table head and table body, we have the 3 columns. So when it comes to the rows, for table head we have only one row, because we have to mention just column names. That's why we just need to add one row in the table head. Here you can see I have added only one row. In that one row we have to add the names. We cannot add the names directly in the HTML table. Whenever you want to add any value, that may be a column value or the row value or table header value or table body value, you have to add that value in the TD tags only. TD tags means table data. If you observe entire the table here, I have not added any value without the TD tags. You can see ID in the TD, name in the TD, marks in the TD. Here I have added all the values in the TD tags only. You have to keep in that mind that whenever you want to add any value, that may be a column value, that may be a row value or anything, you have to add that in the TD tags only. This is one of the important point in the tables. So in the row we have only 3 columns. You can see in the table header we have 3 columns: ID, name, marks. So that's why I have created 3 TD tags. First TD tag, second TD tag, third TD tag. So in every TD tag we have to mention the column name. In the first TD tag I have mentioned the column name as ID. Second TD tag, column name as name. Third TD tag, column name as marks. So by this the table header part is completed. That means up to here the table header part is completed. After completing the header part, we have to define the body. Already I have said every table consisting of 2 parts: T head, T body. T means table, table head, table body. So up to here the table header part is completed. Now we have to open the table body. In the table body we have to take every row for the new student. In every row we have to add the 3 cells. Cells is nothing but table data, because we have 3 columns, that's why in every row we have to take 3 cells to define the id, name, marks. For id we have to take new td tag, for name we have to take new td tag, for marks also we have to do the same thing. So for first row I have taken 3 td tags. In the first td tag I have to mention the id for the first student is 1. For the second student, then for the second tag we have the name is equal to John. For the third column we have the marks is equal to 96, and we have to repeat this tr to the 4 students. This is the second student, this is the third student, and this is the fourth student, and we have to repeat these things until the students count is increased. So HTML tables is one of the difficult and the most important topic in the HTML, because whenever you make any website, we'll be definitely using the tables complex to add the data of the users or admins or whatever it may be. Tables is the one of the important as well as difficult topic also. So practice thoroughly to get perfection in this. So let's understand what is this HTML list. So the best example I'm going to explain. Here you can see, whenever you want to working with any website, suppose if you want to make any programming languages website, you want to add any information about the programming languages. So in that website you have to add some data about the top programming languages in web. So in that scenarios you have to add the data in the list, means one by one. Here the first is JavaScript, second is Python, third is Ruby, third is PHP, fourth is Ruby, fifth is Java, and these complete data is called as list in HTML. So we have to use the list tags to define this data. So list is also one of the most useful HTML tag in many web applications to define the data in the step-by-step order. So now we are going to build the same page. So I am going to build one h1 text with the title, the top programming languages in web, and we are going to add some programming languages data in the lists. So without any let's go into the VS Code. So this is the front end folder. Now I am going to create the new file with the name list.html. Press enter. Now first we have to complete the HTML formalities. HTML head. In that head we have to write the title HTML lists. Control S. Now after completing the head part we have to write the body part. So in that body part first we have to write the h1, what list you are making. I want to make the programming languages list. So the top programming languages. Control S. So first let's see the output. This is the previous lecture output. Copy the URL and paste it in the another tab and replace the file name. Instead of table.html we have to write list.html. Here you can see we got the title of our list. The top programming languages are. So here we have to write R. Control S. Here you can see we got the title. Now we have to add the list of programming languages, and every programming language must be in the new line. So first I am going to write the list with the tag li. Li stands for list item. Before writing the li we have to mention that you have to mention the numbers for that programming languages. That means we have to write the programming languages in the order. So whenever you want to write the list in the order you have to use the OL. OL means order list. Whenever you want to use the list without order then you have to use UL. OL means order list, UL means unorder list. First we have to use the OL means order list. In order list we will get the numbers for the list. In unorder list we do not get the number for the list. So first we will discuss the order list. For order list we have to use the tag as OL. Less than symbol OL. That's it. In this OL we have to write the names of the programming languages, and we have to write that names in the list. That means list item, less than symbol li means list item. So for every programming languages we have to use the list item tag. The first programming language in the web development are JavaScript. Control S. Now I want to add the second programming language as Python. Now let's see whether these two programming languages are added or not. Control S, not Control S, refresh. Here you can see we got the list with the number. Number means order list. First is JavaScript, second is Python. Now we will add some more languages. I want to add the third programming languages as Java, and the fourth as PHP. So here I am giving these programming languages with the number wise. You can see we got the number for every programming language. That means every list item we got the number. So this number is called as order list. Whenever you use the order list means OL, we will get the number for the list. So when you do not give the order list, it will give the direct. So afterwards we will discuss about the unordered list. First we have to use the only order list. So now I am going to add the fifth language, Fifth language is Ruby. Control S. Refresh. Here you can see we got the 5 programming languages and we have the number for every programming languages. First one is JavaScript, second is Python, third is Java, fourth is PHP, and fifth is Ruby. So this is the UL. Now we will discuss about this is the OL. OL means order list. O means order, U means unorder. You have to keep it in mind that O means order list. In order list we will get the numbers. In unordered list we do not get the numbers. Now I am going to create the one more heading for the unordered list. So I will create the H1, the top web frameworks are Control S. So in the order list we have given the programming languages list. In unordered list I am going to create the frameworks list. So first we have to create the unordered list. Unordered list is denoted by UL, less than symbol, UL, greater than symbol. So here we have to write the list item, LI. The first framework I am going to give is React.js. React.js is one of the top web framework, and second is Angular. And the third list item means third framework is Node.js. Now I am going to add the fourth list item is Vue.js. Control S. Now let's see whether the unordered list is added or not. I'll press the Control S and I will hit the refresh button. Here you can see we got the unordered list. If you observe the unordered list here, we do not have any numbers. For every new list item we have just dot. So it is denoted that it is the unordered list. Unordered list is denoted by dot and the order list is denoted by number. So at the H1 text I will add the order list and unordered list also. In ordered list, and in the programming in the web frameworks are in the top web frameworks in unordered list. Control S. Now let's see the output. Here you can see the top programming languages in order list. In order list we will get the list in the number format. First number, first list item, second number, second list item. When it comes to the unordered list, we will get the list items in the dot. So for the first dot we will get the first list item, for the second dot we will get the second list item, and for the third dot we will get the third list item. As long as it goes, the item will be added with the dot operator. So like this way we have to add the order list and unordered list in the HTML. So this is the demo of our resume. At the top you can see this is the developer name. Bottom of the developer name we have the designation full stack developer, and bottom of the designation we have the personal details of the developer, that may be email and phone number. And after these personal details we have one underline. After the underline we have the career objective of the developer, we have the side heading, and we have one paragraph with the 2 lines. After the career objective we have the education or qualification. We have the table. Already we have discussed how to create the table in HTML, and we are going to use that concept and we are going to build the table in this resume. And after the education we have the skills. Here we are using the unordered list and the order list. For the skills we have used the order list. You can see the skills represented with the numbers 1 2 3. 1 is for Java, 2 is for PHP, 3 is for JavaScript. And we have also given the frameworks because we are applying for the developer of the full stack developer. So we have to know some frameworks. That's why I have given the frameworks in the unordered list. For unordered list we do not have any numbers. We only get the dots for the list item. So the first list item is React.js, second list item is AngularJS, third is Node.js. And after completing the skills and frameworks, we are going to add our projects in the resume. Here I have added only project titles only. The first project is user authentication and the second project is restaurant application. Here we are not going to add any description about the project. So if you want to add, you can add using the paragraph tags. So here I don't want to add anything. After completing the projects, we need to add one underline. At the last, we have to say thank you in the resume. So this is the sample resume that we are going to build now. So let's create a new folder in the desktop. New folder. I will create the folder name as resume. So in this resume folder only we are going to create our project. First I am going to access this resume folder in the VS Code. Click on the file, click on the open folder, and here you have to select the newly created folder that we have created now. The folder name is resume. Select folder. And in this resume folder we have to create 2 files. First one is for HTML, second one is for CSS. We are using the external style sheet. You can use internal also, but whenever you are building the web projects we have to use only external. So first file is index.html and the second file is index.css. Close this. Now in the HTML, first we have to write the content. I will complete the HTML formalities. HTML head. In this head we have to write the title. Title. The title is resume. Control S. Now after completing the head part we have to move into the body part. So in this body part first we have to write the developer name. So I will write just my name only. Control S. Now let's check the output. So our project is located in the desktop. The folder name resume and the file name is index.html. Here you can see we got the title of the developer. So if you observe the project, here we have some padding at the left side and the top. So that's why we have to add some padding to the H1 text. So first we have to write the H1 and we have to add padding top 10px, or you can also add the margin, because here we do not adding any background color. If you add background color we need to add only padding. Here we are not adding any background color, so you can use padding or margin. You can use any one. Both will result the same thing. So padding 20px, I will add padding 20 and margin 20. Control S. Padding bottom, padding left we have to give. Already padding top is done. Padding left is equal to 20px. Control S. Now I will click the refresh button. So here there is no change because we have created the CSS file, but we haven't linked that CSS file to the HTML. So whenever you are using the external style sheet, we have to link that style sheet to the HTML file. So in the head, we have to use the link statement. So in the href, we have to write the CSS file name, index.css, Control S. Now I'm going to hit the refresh button. Here you can see the padding left, padding bottom. Both the padding left and bottom is equal to 20px. So after the title, we have the designation. So now I will write the designation using the paragraph tag because we want to add the designation with the smaller text. So that's why I will use the paragraph tag. Full stack developer. After the designation, we have to use the email. That email also I am going to add in the paragraph. So I will add my email only. After the email, we have to add the phone number. So I will add 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. This is my phone number. Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see we got all the details. Full stack developer P satyaprakash195gmail.com is the email, and this is the phone number. Now we are going to add padding to this paragraph also. So if you add padding left, it will move right side. So in the index.css, I am going to add the padding left for the paragraph tag. Padding left to 20px. Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see we got the paragraph text with the 20px padding. So now we have to add the underline. To add the underline in the HTML web pages, we have to use the HR tag. HR means horizontal line. So after the P tag, I will use the HR. That's it. Here HR is a special tag. Here we need not to mention the closing tags. We just need to write the less than symbol, tag name, and the closing greater than symbol. The tag name is just HR. I will hit the refresh. Here you can see we got one HR line. So the personal details part is completed. Now we have to write the career objective. So in the career objective, we have one smaller heading. To take the smaller heading, we have to use the heading tag except h1 because we have already used the h1 tag for the name of the developer. So we have to use any other heading tag. You can use h5, h4, h3, anything. So I want to use h3. h3. In this h3, I will write objective. Control S. Now let's see the output. Here you can see I got the text objective. The text size is smaller than the name of the developer. So now we have to add some styling to this objective. That means h3. So in the index.css, I will create the h3. For this h3, first I will add some padding. Padding left 20px. Control S and hit refresh. Here you can see we got padding left. Now I will add the underline because if you see the resume here, we have to add the underline for the side headings. So I will add text decoration. Text decoration is equal to underline. Control S. Here you can see we got the objective. Now we need to copy this paragraph, or you can copy from any Google website, and we have to paste that in the P tag. I will create one P tag and I will paste it here. Control S. Click on the view, click on the toggle word wrap, Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh button once again. Here you can see I got the career objective. So we are done with the personal details and the career objective. Now we have to add the qualification or education. So to add the side heading education also, we need to add the h3. In this h3, we need to add the education. So first I will create the h3 tag. In this h3, you need to write education or qualification. Education. So this is the title. Here you can see I got the side heading education. Now we need to create the table. In this table, we have the table header with qualification, year of completion and percentage. And in the table, we have 3 rows. That means in the table body, we have 3 rows. First we have to divide the table into 2 parts, T head and T body. I will create one table. First I will divide these into 2 parts, T head, table head, and after the table head we have to write the T body, table body. So in the T head we have only one row because we have to add the table header. That's why we just need to write TR, one TR. In these TR tags we have to add the table cells, that means table data. We have to add the column names in the table data. So the first column name is qualification, TD qualification. Second column name is year of completion, year of completion, Control S, and the third column name is percentage, Control S. Now let's see the output whether the header, table header is created or not. Here you can see the table header is created successfully. Now we need to add the margin, not margin, we have to add the table body to add rows to it. So first I will create the 3 rows in the table body because we are giving the 3 qualifications. The BTech qualification, diploma qualification, SSC qualification. For one qualification we have to add 1 row. So that's why we have to add 3 rows for 3 qualifications. TR, this is the first TR, this is the second TR, and this is the third TR. And in every row we have to add the 3 columns, that means 3 TD tags. So in the first row I am going to add the first TD tag. The first TD tag indicates the qualification name. The highest qualification is BTech. And the second TD tag is year of completion. I will write 2019. And the third is percentage, TD, percentage I will write is 90. Control S. Now let's see whether the first qualification is added or not. Here you can see the first qualification is added successfully. Afterwards we will add the styling to this table. First of all we have to add the data into this table. So now like this we have to add the remaining data also. The second qualification name is diploma. And the second qualification completion of year is 2017. And the second qualification percentage is 85. Control S. And now we have to add the last qualification, TD. Last qualification name is SSC, that means 10th class. Percentage, not percentage, the second column is year of completion 2015. TD, and at the last we have to add the percentage of the SSC qualification. I will write 88. Control S. Now let's see. Here you can see we got 3 rows for the body. First one is BTech, second one is SSC, second one is diploma, third is SSC. Now we are completed with the table part. Now we have to add styling to this table part. First we have to add the padding left to this table. So here I will create the table tag and I will add PL, padding left, 20 px. Control S. Hit refresh. Here you can see the table is moved towards the right side. Now we have to make this table like this. We have to add the borders for the every table cell. Here table cell is nothing but table data. Here you can see for every table data we have the black color border. For qualification we have the border. For year of completion we have the border. And for the values also we have the border. BTech is the value of the qualification. For BTech also we have the border. So we have to create the border for TD tag. Here all these 12 tags are TDs. So that's why we have to create the border for TD tag. So I will create TD and we have to create the border. So already I have shown how to create the border for the HTML tags. So this border takes 3 values. First value is length of the border. I will write 1 px. Second value is type of the border. The type is always solid only. And the third value is color of the border. Here we are going to apply only black color border. Black. Control S, not Control S. Semicolon, Control S. Now let's hit the refresh button. So you can able to see the border. Here you can see before hitting the refresh there is no border. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see we got the border. Qualification, year of completion, for every cell we got the border. Here table cell is nothing but table data. So now we have completed the education part also. Let's see the next part. Next part is the skills. In the skills we have created the OL. OL means orders list. So to create this side heading we have to use the h3 tag. HTML. So after the table we have to create one h3 tag. Skills. Control S. After this side heading we have to add the OL. In this OL we have to create the list items. The first skill is I am going to add is Java. Second is Python, Li Python, and the third is JavaScript. Control S. Now let's see the output. This is our output. Here you can see we got the skills Java, Python, JavaScript. Now we have to add the frameworks. Frameworks are unordered list. That's why we have to use UL. For order list we have to use OL. For unordered list we have to use UL. To create these frameworks we have to use h3 tag. After the OL I will create the UL. Before UL we have to create the heading h3 frameworks. Control S. So now I am going to add the UL. UL mean unordered list. First item I am going to add is React.js. The second is Django. Django is one of the Python framework. Third is I will add Node.js. Control S. Now let's see the output. Here you can see we got the frameworks also. The first framework is React.js, Django is the second, and the Node.js is the third. Here we have used the unordered list. That's why we cannot see the numbers here. Now we are left with only one thing, that is projects. So to create the project side heading also we have to use the h3 tag. After the UL we have to create one more h3 tag, projects. Now in these projects I am going to use the UL only. You can see here we have to use, not UL, it is OL. We have given numbers for the projects. So we have to show them that this is my first project and this is my second project. That's why we have to use the OL, orders list. So I will create OL, and in this OL we have to add the projects in the list items. So the first project I am going to add is e-commerce application. E-commerce application. And now I am going to add my second projects in the Li only. Second project is shopping cart. And I want to add my third project also. This is calculator. Control S. That's it. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see we got the projects also. First project e-commerce application, second is shopping cart, and third is calculator. Now we have to add one underline, and at the last we have to write the thank you. So to add the underline, I have already said we have to use the HR tag. HR means horizontal. HR, Control S, and at the last we have to write one H1 text. In that H1 text we have to write thank you. Control S. Refresh. Here you can see we got the underline, and at the last we have written the thank you. So this is the simple resume using the HTML, CSS. Forms is also one of the important topic in HTML. Let's start with the definition of form. What is a form? An HTML form is a collection of HTML tags which are used to take input or data from the user. So here HTML form is a tag, and it is a collection of another HTML tags. It is like normal UL tag. In UL tag we have the child tags as Li. Li means list item. In every unordered list we have some list items. So in form also we have some child tags that are used to collect the data or input from the user. So in every HTML form there will be at least one child element which is used to take input from the user. So now let's see the form example. You can see this is the normal HTML form and this is the student registration form. This complete picture is called as a HTML form, and all these things are called as HTML form child elements. Already we have discussed HTML form is a collection of tags which are used to take input from the user. Form is a tag, and in that form we will have the child elements, and all these are called as child elements, and this entire picture is called as HTML form. Now let's discuss the child elements in the HTML form. Here the student registration is not considered under the form. It is the simple H1 tag which is used to say that this is the student registration form. It is not included in the form. The form element starts from here, the student name. So this is the label for the form, and this is the input. Input is taken from the user. So whenever a user want to type anything, we have to use the input tag. In this input field only the user will type the text, and in HTML this field is denoted by input tag, and the type is text. There are many input tags in HTML. For every input tag we will have the attribute called as type, and for this input field we have the type called as text. So attribute is nothing but already we have discussed the attributes concepts in image tag. In image tag we have the src attribute which is used to store the file path, and we have the height and width attributes. So like this, for input also we have one attribute called as type. In that type we have to tell the compiler that which type of input you are using. So here we are using the text type. We are taking the input like text from the user, and this student name is the label. So because if you show with empty input field to the user cannot understand what type of input he should give. So we have to show the label also. So if you show the label, the user will understand that, so in this input field I should enter the student name. So that's why we have to use the text called as label. This text is called as label, and this rectangular box is called as input in the HTML. In the second element also we have used the same thing, HTML label for the input field student ID. In this input field the user will enter the student ID. Student ID is also belong to the type text because it is also normal alphabetical text only. So the third element we are going to discuss is input radio. Here the tag is input only, but the type is radio. Radio is nothing but whenever you want to select one option from the more than one options, then we have to use the input radio. Here for gender we have to select only one choice from the two options. Here we have the two choices, male and female. So from these two we have to select only one. In these cases we have to use the input radio. If you use input text we will get only rectangular box. If you use input radio we will get these round symbols. In these round symbols we have to select at least one from the multiple options. Here we have only two options, so you can select any one, male or female. So this is the use of input radio. So the fourth element we are going to learn is checkboxes. Checkboxes is also related to the inputs only, but the type is checkbox. Whatever the text that I have written in these brackets, that is called as type. For the first two tags the type is text, and the third tag the type is radio, because in this radio we have to select only one option from the multiple options. So the fourth is checkbox. Checkbox is also one of the radio, not radio, input tag, but the type is checkbox. In this checkbox we can select multiple options from the multiple choices. Here a student can enroll more than one course. That's why we can use the checkboxes. If you use the radio boxes we have to select only one. If you use the checkboxes we can select many. So this is only difference between radio and checkbox. In radio buttons we have to select one from many. In checkboxes you can select many from many. This is the difference between the radio and checkbox. And we have completed the 4 tags in the form. Now the fifth tag we are going to learn is selection list. So we have seen the selection list while selecting the countries and the cities from the forms. So now I will show you the example after completing this form. So keep this selection list aside. While explaining these practically, I will tell about this selection list. And after all these 5 tags, we have the button. Because after clicking the button, we have to send this data to the database. That's why we have to add one button. After clicking this button only, this data will be sent to the database using any one server-side scripting language. Here we are not discussing about them. We are only focusing on design part only. So once again, I will explain all these 6 tags. Here we are going to learn these 6 form tags. There are many form tags available in the HTML, but in majority scenarios, we are going to use these 6 only. The first one is input text. This is used to take normal username, name, password input from the user. And the second student ID is also input text only, because we are going to take input from the user in the form of text. And the third is input radio, because we are going to select only one from the multiple. Whenever you want to select only one option from the multiple options, we have to use the input radio. And the fourth is checkboxes. Checkboxes is also related to the radio, but we can select many from the many, because a student can enroll more than one option. Here we have 3 courses for every student. He can select only one course, or he can select 2 courses, or he can select 3 courses. Here the student selected 3 courses. That's why the tick mark is applied to 3 courses. And the fifth is selection list. We will discuss after this. We will discuss the selection list afterwards. And at the last we have the button, because after clicking this button only, all these data will be processed. Now we are going to see this application practically. Now I will open VS Code. Already I have designed this web form. You can see this is the form. Already you have seen this example. Now I will show you the real-time example. This is the H1 text. In this H1 text we have the form title, student registration. And bottom of the student registration we have the label, because if you do not give this label, how can a user understand that in this input field he should give the name? That's why we have to mention the label. By seeing this label, the user can understand that in this input field I should give the student name. Here I am giving the student name as XYZ. So this is the student name. And the second label we are going to add is student ID. Already I have added the student ID as the label. For this label we have to use the input field. Here also we are taking the text type input field. So a student ID may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the student ID. These two are the type text. Student name and student ID are the text type input fields. And the third input field we are adding is radio buttons. In these radio buttons we can able to select only one option. Here we have 2 options, male or female. If you select male, the female will be unselected. If you select female, the male will be unselected. So you can select only one option. This is called as input radio. And the fourth is checkboxes. In checkboxes you can select 1, or you can select 2, you can select 3, or you can select all. So here we have the 3 options. You can select one option, or you can select 2, or you can select 3. But you cannot select more than one option in the input radio. Here this gender is the radio, courses is the checkbox. So this is the difference between radio and checkbox. And now we are left with only one thing, that is called as selection list. So in this selection list also we have to select only one from the many options. It is similar to checkboxes, but in selection list we have the drop down form. If you click on this rectangular box, we can able to see all the options. So you have to select only one country. If you want to select America, you can select America, or India, or Australia. This country is the label for the selection list. And at the last we have the button. After clicking this button, the data will be processed to the server side. So this is the real-time example of the form. In the next video, we are going to design this form programmatically. Now the first step we have to do is to create a new file in this front-end folder. I will write the file name as form.html. First I will complete the HTML formalities. HTML head. In this head we have to write the title. Title is HTML forms. Control S. Now I will move into the body part. Body. In this body first we have to write the title of our form. We are going to create the student registration form. That's why I will create one H1 tag. In this H1 tag I will write student registration form. Control S. Now let's execute this program. The next tab I will open this file. So desktop folder name is frontend and slash file name is form.html. Here we go, we got the student registration form. Now we need to create the form tag. As I said, in the form tag only we have to create the child tags. So first we have to create the parent tag, which is called as form. Less than symbol, form, greater than symbol. So it will automatically gives the closing syntax of the form in VS Code. If you are not using VS Code, or if you are using any another text editor, you have to write entire this syntax. So that's why I have suggested you to use the VS Code. So first we have to create the label. If you observe our form here, we have the student name label. So first I will create the label. Label syntax is less than symbol, label, greater than symbol. So first we have to write the label name. We are going to write the label name as student or student name. I will write student name, and we have to write colon after the label. Here you can see we got the label name. Now we need to create the input field. You can see after the label name we have the input field. So in this input field we are going to take the input about the student name. So now I will show you the syntax of the input field. Input field is also some of the special tag in the HTML. Input field is also not having any closing tag. So I will show you the syntax. Less than symbol, input, we have to write slash greater than symbol. So in this input field we have different attributes. The first attribute we are going to discuss is type. So we have to tell the user which type of input field it is. So now I will tell the user that it is the text input field. So it will take only input as text from the user. Now let's see the output. Here you can see we got only text box. So this is the type text input field. Now as like this we have to create the second input field. So I will create one more label, less than symbol, label, greater than symbol. The second input field is roll number, I think so, not roll number, student ID. Sorry. Here we have to create student ID. Once again we have to write the colons. After this label we have to create the second input field, which is the type text, less than symbol, input, slash, greater than symbol, and we have to add one attribute called as type. So this type is equal to text. For second input field also we are going to take text type of input from the user. Control S. Now I am going to execute this once again. Here you can see we got the second input field by the side of first input field. So to avoid these situations we have to use the BR tag. After first input field we have to use the BR tag. So if you use BR tag, the second input field will be added to the next line. The line will be splitted. So after the first input field, here you can see this is the first input field. After this input field I am going to use the BR tag. BR means break. Control S. Here you can see we got the second input field bottom of the first input field. Afterwards we will add this styling to these input fields. First we have to create all the tags in the form. So we have completed with the input type of text. Input type text fields we have completed. Now we have to create the radios. So we have to select only one option from the multiple options. So here we are going to use this radio option for the gender, because we are going to select only one gender. We cannot select more than one gender. So first I will create the label for the gender. For every input field we have to create the label, because we have to tell the user that what type of data it is. So I will create the less than symbol, label, slash, greater than symbol. Sorry, this is not the label syntax. So this is the label syntax. Now in this label we have to write the input field name, gender. Control S. So for the better understanding I will use the colons. After after label we have to create the radios. So now I will show you the syntax of radio buttons. Radio buttons is also one of the type of input field, but the type is equal to text. Already in the previous lecture only we have discussed there are many number of inputs in HTML. Inputs is same but the type is different. For the first two inputs we have used the type is equal to text. Now we are using the type is equal to radio. I am going to create the input. First I will close this input field using the slash and greater than symbol. So now I will create type is equal to radio. Now let's see the output. Here you can see we got this radio button side of the right side of the student ID. So that's why we have to use br tag after the student ID input. So after the second input field I will use the br tag, Control S. Here you can see we got the gender button bottom of the second input field. Here we got the radio button but there is no text for this button. That's why we have to add the text like male or female after this radio. So after completing this input field we have to add anyone name. So by completing this input field I will write male, Control S. So now I am going to add the second input radio. Input greater than symbol, here slash. Now one more input type is radio because we are going to give two options for the user to select male or female. That's why we have to give two input fields with the type radio. And for the second input radio button the name is female. Here you can see we got two input fields with the radio buttons male and female. So if you select first one you cannot select second one. If you select second one you cannot select, sorry. So here it is selecting two options. There is something mistake in our code. I forgot to add the name attribute I think so. So here in the input type radio we have to add the one more attribute because we have to tell the compiler that from these two options only the user should select one option. So that's why we have to tell the compiler that these two options belong to same group or same name. So that's why we have to add the one attribute which is called as name. Name is one of the attributes which is used in the input field tags in HTML. So here name is equal to gender. In the second input fields also we have to give the name is equal to gender. So the user can select only one option from these two input fields. So in the normal input fields, in the type text input fields, name is not necessary. But when it comes to the radio input fields, the name is necessary because from these two genders only the user can select only one gender. That's why we have to use for the both input fields we have to give one name. So here also gender, here also gender. So from these two genders the user can select only one. Now I am going to execute this. Refresh. Now I will select the male. Here you can see I have selected only. If I select female this dot will be gone. So now I will select female. Here you can see we can select only one from the two. If you select male you cannot select female. If you select female you cannot select male. So if you do not use the name attribute you can select both. So that's why we have to use name attribute for the input type radios. When it comes to the input type text name attribute is optional, it is not mandatory. So now we are completed with the input radios also. Now we are left with three things. The next one is checkboxes. Checkboxes is also similar to the radio buttons but we can select many options from many options. So now I am going to create the radio buttons. Before creating the radio buttons we have to use the br tag. So the radio buttons will be added next line. Control S. For the radio buttons also first we have to create the label to tell the user that select any one. Label greater than symbol. In this label I will write courses or you can write subjects. So now we are going to create the input fields with the type checkbox. Input slash greater than symbol. So we have to write type is equal to checkbox. That's it. And for every checkbox we have to give one name. For this checkbox I will give the name as JavaScript. Control S. Now let's see whether the first checkbox has created successfully or not. Here you can see the first checkbox is created successfully. Now we have to create the remaining checkboxes like this. So you can copy this text and paste it bottom. So here I am going to add 4 courses. First course is JavaScript. Second course is HTML. Third course is Bootstrap. And the fourth I am going to add is CSS. So this is a checkbox. That's why a user can select all the courses at a time. When it comes to the radio buttons, a user can select only one option from the multiple options. When it comes to checkboxes, a user can select more than one also. Now I will show you the example. Here you can see we got 4 courses for the every student. So a user can enroll in the only JavaScript or JavaScript plus HTML or JavaScript plus HTML plus Bootstrap, or you can select all 4. Suppose if you want to select only HTML and Bootstrap, then you can unselect these JavaScript and CSS. So you can select 1 to 4 any options. There is no rule that he should select only one option. If you want to put that rule that he should select only one option, we have to use the radio buttons. Now the next tag we are going to add is selection list. So it is somewhat difficult to all other tags in the form. First we have to add the label as like the previous tags. Open VS Code. So first I will use the BR tag after these checkboxes. First we have to create the label for the checkbox selection list. Here you can see we have to create the label for the selection list. We are going to select the country from the list. So first I will create label. So I will remove this. The label name is course, not courses, country. Select country. Control S. Let's see whether the label is added or not. Here you can see the label is added successfully. Now we are going to add the selection list. So first selection list is divided into 2 parts, parent and child. The parent is denoted by select and child is denoted by option. First we have to create the parent. So already I have said parent is denoted by select keyword. Less than symbol, select. We have to give greater than symbol, so it will give automatically the closing tags for the select. In this select we have to give the options. So here these rectangular box is called select, and in these all these values are called options. So already we have given the select tag. So in that select tag we have to give the options. Now I will create the options in select tag. Option is denoted by option only, less than symbol, option, greater than symbol. So in between these option tags we have to write the list values. So first value I am going to write is India. Second I will write is, so second is Pakistan. Option, greater than symbol. Third is America. I want to add the fourth option as Australia. Australia. Now I will add the fifth option, Canada. So a user can select one country from these 5 countries. Now let's see the output, whether the selection list is created or not. Here you can see we got the option. The first value will be selected automatically before a user select any country. So if you observe the all countries here, the first country is India. That's why the India is selected automatically before the user select. So if you click on this India, we can see all the available countries in the list. You can select anyone. You can select Pakistan, you can select America, or you can select Canada or Australia. So here I have selected the Australia. This is the selection list. Now we have to add only one tag, which is called as button. After clicking the button, we have to process this tag. So the button is very easy. We have to use less than symbol, button keyword, greater than symbol. In between these opening tag and closing tag, we have to use the name for the button. I am going to use the name as register, or you can use enroll, anything, Control S. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see we got the button right side of the selection list. That's why we have to use the BR tag after the selection list. Control S. Here we go. We got the button. So we have designed all the tags: input type text, input type text, input type radio, input type checkbox, selection list, button. So these are the mainly useful tags in every form. If you observe any website, these are the mainly used components in that website: input fields, radio button, checkboxes, selection list, and buttons. Now we will add some styling to these input fields and all these form tags. So first I will create the style in the head part. I am going to use the internal styling. Style. So first I am going to add some padding to the form tags. So if you use padding to the form tags, all these tags will be moved right side. So I will add padding left. Form P left, or you can use the margin left also. Padding left to 20 px. Control S. So after clicking the refresh button, all these tags will be moved 20 pixels away from this corner. So now I am going to hit the refresh button. Here you can see all the tags have been moved from 20 pixels from the left side. Now we are going to add the margin top for every input field and for every label also. Here you can see these names are called as the labels, and these right side are called as the input fields. So first I am going to create the label. For the label, I am going to add the margin top as 10 px, and for the input fields also I am going to add the margin top as margin top 10 px. So for every input field there will be 10 px gap. Now I am going to hit the refresh. Here you can see for every input field we have the 10 pixels gap. So in this project I have given 20 pixels gap, I think so. So that's why the gap is more. If you want to give, you can give 20 pixels also. 20, 20. Control S. Now I will hit refresh. Here you can see now it's looking good. Student name, student ID, gender, course, select country, and register. So here there is no gap because all these top 4 are called as input fields, and the fifth one is select list. So for this select list also we have to add styling separately. So that's why we have to use select tag. Select margin top 10 px. Control S. Not 10, 20. Here we go. We got all the margins successfully. So now I am going to enter one sample data. I will enter the student name as Messi, student ID as 2356, gender male. He want to enroll 4 courses, 2 courses, JavaScript and Bootstrap, because he has already learned HTML and CSS, and he is from America. So after clicking the register button, the data will be processed like this.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Like, comment and share. See you next time.